Hi, and welcome to the Scoop about life coaching. I was asked to speak to a medical society this evening and answer their concerns about coaching and physicians, and clarify some misconceptions about coaching and the industry, and explain a little bit more about what the difference between coaching and therapy and mentorship and advice was. And so I thought I would share all of that with you in this podcast. So my intention today is to share my own personal journey, getting coached as a coach, and share with you why I continue to coach. I hope you'll discover how coaching is different than therapy, different than mentorship, and different than friendship. I also hope to share why coaching is particularly helpful for smart, highly trained professionals. The takeaways of today's episode: reminder that getting help helps. Everyone needs something different, and it's not for us to judge others and their choices about the help that they need or want. It's up to each individual to figure out what works for them. We can stay in our own business, and our lives will be the better for it, something that we learn in coaching. So I'm going to start with some quotes about coaching has helped some of the people that I have worked with. I also want to share a bit of evidence about coaching for physicians specifically and mitigating burnout. And then a little bit about my own life journey and how it led to coaching and how coaching changed it. And a brief bit about the industry of coaching, since I know many people have a lot of questions and there's quite a lot of controversy about it. So to start, to share a few quotes from people who've worked with me about what coaching can help with. A lot of people don't know what coaching is. Is it about skills? Is it about learning to do surgery, shoot a basketball? We think of sports coaching and leadership coaching. And what is life coaching? And life coaching for physicians or relationship coaching, what is different about that than, say, marriage counseling? So I thought these quotes might help you. Jessie helped me reframe situations that allowed me to invite peace and compassion into situations that initially felt stuck and helpless. I feel 10 times more resilient as a physician. When I started coaching, I felt like I had to save myself or be a doctor. Now I can take care of myself and do my job well. Coaching made me more committed to making choices in my life that align with my priorities, loves, and goals for success. The compassion, joy, and love you've helped me find in this incredibly transformative journey has illuminated the countless and creative ways I can enjoy a career in medicine. You helped me understand my professional goals and how they align with, rather than compete with, my personal goals. You listened to my very specific concerns and helped me outline a plan for work that was achievable, even in the midst of COVID. I got great help with the in-basket and electronic medical record. I got quick results, and I now look forward to clearing out my in-basket. So I see coaching as a form of preventive care for sustainable, healthy, and satisfying life and career in medicine, if that happens to be your career path. It's also helpful for career in law, a career in tech leadership, in any demanding career, and perhaps even just in life, because life is hard. Coaching helps protect you from burnout. It helps protect you from depression, anxiety, vicarious trauma. I also like to think of it as a way of optimizing your potential, of finding joy and coming alive again. But I want to be clear that coaching is part of the solution to a lot of the problems with burnout and issues in healthcare, but it is 100% not all of it. We could coach all of the physicians and the system would still need to change. We can coach all the employees, and if we keep people in any business in a place where they are not being treated well as humans and or not being allowed to honor their human potential, it won't work out well. I did want to take a moment to reflect on some of the evidence around coaching, specifically for physicians and specifically for burnout. I'm not familiar with the evidence in other professions, but in physician coaching, there have been some recent studies supporting the efficacy. And so I just want to reflect that there's a JAMA article in 2019 called "The Effect of a Professional Coaching Intervention on the Well-Being and Distress of Physicians, a Pilot Randomized Controlled Trial." Later in 2019, there was something called Coaching for Primary Care Physician Wellbeing, a randomized trial and follow-up analysis. There's an article called The Business Case for Investing in Physician Wellbeing. And there are several newer studies coming out this year with more information. So there is some new evidence. In any new field, of course, it takes time to gather evidence. And in a state where we have so many people in healthcare leaving and such high rates of distress and physician suicide and mental health concerns, we need to take some action. And in my mind, there's enough action to say that coaching can help. It doesn't need to be mandated. It can be an option, one of a smorgasbord of options, knowing that everybody needs something different. And I do want to reflect that many people want to know, well, is coaching the thing? And if I do it, will it fix everything? And that's on the individual. It's also on you to decide how much you want to fix and how much you want to change. A few more quotes to share before I dive into the meat of coaching and how it helped me. After coaching, I am more confident in myself. What others say and do affects me a lot less. It may sting for a second, but the negative feelings don't linger. I make fewer assumptions about people. I approach situations with curiosity rather than judgment. The change was magical. With every week, I transformed my mind. I became calm. I stopped reacting, and I am able to choose my actions. Very soon after starting, my mood dramatically improved and my anxiety was significantly less. I am much stronger and more in control of my own happiness. I really didn't ever believe before that I could feel calm and happy in this way. And so all of those testimonials, feedback are from physicians in completely different specialties: cardiologists, OBGYNs, family practice, gastroenterology, ER doctors, ICU doctors, pediatricians, oncologists, so many different specialties. And coaching can help in all of those arenas, no matter what your underlying specialty is, and no matter what the situation is in the moment, and perhaps what you are facing. And so I just want to offer those comments because I think they get at the crux of all the things that coaching can help with and give you sort of a different idea of what you might expect and what you might get out of it. So I also, in this podcast, wanted to share my personal story with coaching. In my mind, it was very unlikely, given how I got here, that I would end up as a life coach. So I grew up in Berkeley in a kind of intellectual but hippie family in the 70s. And then I went to the college preparatory school, a very formal, rigorous high school education, to Dartmouth College. Then I worked at the National Academy of Sciences in Washington, D.C. on a research project for 2 years. Then I went to medical school at UCSF. So I was obviously interested in science. And I should say I was a psychology major in college. So I love psychology and I love how the brain works. And it was always a passion of mine. Brain development and child development was also always of interest. And I went to medical school specifically to become a pediatrician. And so as pediatricians, we focus a lot on the evolving brain and learning new things and growing and transforming and optimizing things along the way as we develop. So coaching is in line with that. After I finished medical school, I went and did my residency at Kaiser. And of course, I did a year of chief residency because I'm always wanting to fix and help and make things better. And then I worked at Kaiser, or the Permanente Medical Group, as an attending pediatrician for 17 and a half years. I had a lot of different roles: primary care physician, ward attending, continuity clinic preceptor. I worked in the newborn nursery, all of these different places, working with lots of different people in lots of different settings. I also taught the whole time. I was a volunteer clinical professor of peds at UCSF. And I had a lot of physician leadership roles. I was someone who was always trying to find the answer and always trying to improve and make things better. So I guess that is in line with coaching. And you can see as this is evolving how I ended up as a coach. All of these things setting me up for what I'm doing now. So not wasted time as I pivoted careers, but learnings and wisdom and growth and skills acquired along the way. So as a physician leader, I was a site chief, I was an assistant chief, I was a team lead. I was responsible for helping physicians who were struggling in my own department. And I also had a facility-wide and regional role in physician wellness from starting in 2003, when wellness was not a thing. And that was really my passion, was to figure out how we could change the culture of medicine to make it a beautiful place to practice, getting back to the art of medicine and the human connection, bringing humanism back into this work. And all of those things led me to being interested in all of the things that can help us improve ourselves and improve our wellness. Now, what happens then is that after practicing and having all these leadership roles, I transitioned full-time to coaching in 2020 before COVID happened. And the reason I did this, despite all of that training and all of that work and all of that experience and effort put into one career, is because coaching completely changed my life. It was the thing that changed everything. And interestingly, I'm doing master coach training now, and our project is to come up with the next thing that will change everything. And I'm still figuring out what that will be. So we'll all be hopefully the recipients of that. But when you find something in your life that is the thing that changes everything, it's, to me, imperative to share it. And so what I saw through my own journey of coaching, which I'll share a little bit more about in a minute, that it could help my fellow physicians, not because physicians are the problem, but so that they can become the solution and help solve some of these wellness issues and systems issues. We are the perfect people to do this and poised to do it, but we can't do it from a place of fight or flight or complete depletion. So we need to get physicians back to being well humans and back to enjoying their lives. We need to give them back agency and ownership of their life experience and help to untrain these thought patterns that cause us pain and keep us stuck. And these thought patterns, we probably had many of them as children because we were all high achievers and leaders, but they were really sealed into us during our medical school training and residency, which is a time of trauma and stress. And so beliefs about scarcity and catastrophizing and what would happen if you thought differently or made a mistake, for example, or took a risk, those are really hard thoughts to untrain. And coaching helps you do that. Coaching helps you show up much more curious, much more patient, without judgment, non-striving, a lot of other things. So it's a cross between, of course, mindfulness and coaching. But coaching can really help you train your brain so that it works for you rather than against you. And it can help you train this sort of rogue brain, which, when unmanaged, can get you into trouble. It can get you into trouble with many of these common thoughts like scarcity and catastrophizing and always seeing the negative and always fixing things and wanting to control things that are out of our control. And coaching helps you see it for what it is and to decide when these skills are useful and these old thought patterns are useful and when they're causing you unhelpful or pain that we don't need. So I like to think of coaching not as the solution to the systemic changes, but to help us stay afloat and get by in the meantime, and then help us be part of the conversation, stand up tall and ask for what we need. When we are well coached, we are coming from a space where we can see solutions. The snow globe has quieted and our brains are much more open to looking for solutions, thinking more from the design thinking strategy, brainstorming. When we are in distress and burnt out and emotionally exhausted and cynical, as burnout is, we can't find the solutions. And so finding something that helps with that to help us solve the systemic problems is what we need. And coaching is that. Now, coaching helped me change my own behavior and helped me change my own dissatisfaction with where I was. It doesn't mean that we change our thoughts only and stay in a bad situation. Sometimes we need to change the situation. And I have a talk on this on my YouTube channel, When to Make a Change. And I highly recommend it if you're trying to figure out, do I just change my thoughts or do I need to change the situation? Coaching is the thing that helps you clarify that. You really need to change your thoughts first. And then oftentimes we still need to change the situation. So coaching helps you understand your own brain. It also helps you understand your colleague's brain. And if you are a chief or in a leadership position, it helps you as a chief because you understand your colleagues, and it can help you be a much better chief. It can also help you as a physician. Many of our patients have similar human common thought patterns. And so understanding how these thought patterns play a role and where we can intervene and where we can't, not from a problematic space where you have a pathology and something is wrong with you, but just understanding that these are common thought patterns. And the brain, thankfully, it has tons of neuroplasticity and can be rewired. So once we see what's going on, then we can make choices as to how we want to move forward. I did want to reflect a little bit on my own journey in coaching, and I found it about 6 or 7 years ago. And I spent a year or two listening to podcasts and learning about it, but not actually working with a coach. And it was only when I finally took the plunge, as I say, and asked for help that things really got better. I very much thought I could do it by myself and it would be stronger to do it myself. And one of the things that I've learned through coaching is that getting help helps. And it's something that I would encourage all of you to consider. We have a previous podcast episode on exactly that topic. And what if getting help is the strongest and best thing you can do? What if it's efficient? What if it helps you perform at your highest level? And what if it's the thing that changes everything? And so in my case, when I got heavily involved into coaching, I was able to stop resisting things in my life and being frustrated about things that I couldn't control. And someone asked me tonight in this session, what kinds of things did you resist? And I gave the example that I resisted things in a busy physician day, like the busyness of the day and the amount of help that we had and the amount of emails that there were to answer and inefficiencies in the system and the way that the pharmacy worked. And yet I was 100% always going to show up, take care of all my patients with a smile on my face, and give the best care I could. And in resisting all of those things, not working as efficiently as they could or as I thought they should, I was wasting energy, extra energy that I truly didn't have. And so I offer that once I realized that I was resisting it, I was able to come up with different thought patterns that helped me accept it. I can accept but not like it. I can accept but be angry. I can accept and allow it. But once I learned specifically to come up with thoughts that I truly believed that allowed me to accept and something, I was able to spend a lot less energy on those very difficult, busy days and be able to show up as a much more present doctor, colleague, and mom and wife. So that's the kind of thing that coaching can help you with. And I was reflecting earlier that I have a client who was really very frustrated and overwhelmed by her job. And even after 4 sessions of coaching, she's very much enjoying her job. She thinks it's also the thing that has changed everything. She sees now where she was getting herself into trouble with her thoughts. I call them troublemaker thoughts. And once you see them, you can change them, especially with a smart and highly trained brain, whether you're a physician or in some other profession. So when you learn to manage your mind and when you learn to respond and not react and move forward with mindful intention, things are much better. Because I found coaching so powerful, when I finished my own coaching, I immediately signed up to do coach training because I really did want to understand it better, not necessarily to become a coach. But once I did understand it, and once I had the tools alongside my yoga and mindfulness training and my years of physician wellness, I couldn't not show up in this space and share these tools. And what I'll offer, and this came up tonight, is that with this background of all of these other things, as being a leader on the different sides and practicing and doing all of these things and being a mom and a wife, they all come into play as a coach. And so we are not practicing medicine as a coach, but as a life coach, experience matters, wisdom matters, skills and training matter, and all of that comes with you no matter what you're doing in the moment. You can't undo the things in the life experience that you had. So you bring that with you. And there was no way, once I had these skills, that I wasn't going to share them. And so I didn't leave medicine because of burnout. Coaching actually helped me like my job again and realize that the system is as it is and medicine is as it is. But I had to leave, as I like to say it. I wanted to, because I had a deep desire to share coaching and to heal healers and parents and caregivers and improve the world for the next generation. And honestly, that's what I did as a pediatrician. But this feels like it's on a much bigger, broader level. The ripple effects are much more noticeable here. And you might say she has a grandiose vision. And what I'll say is so far, the experience has totally lived up to it. And so coaching was the thing that changed everything for me. And I see it as a thing that changes everything for other people. And it is a bit magic. It is a bit like Jedi mind tricks. And in my case, I changed my eating, my job, my marriage, my parenting. I started a business, became a yoga teacher, created a YouTube channel, this podcast. I write now. All of these things are things that I didn't do. And so much has been created and shared, all from my own coaching journey. And what I would also say is not everyone who gets coaching is meant to become a coach. Most of the people I work with actually stay in medicine and continue practicing medicine. They may change jobs or they may practice in a different way. Sometimes they pivot to something else because they really want to, not because they're running away and can't stand it anymore, but they know that there's something else out there that they are meant to do or want to do. And sometimes we need this space to figure that out. And once again, I would just offer this idea of suspending judgment. When we show up judging others, we judge ourselves, and we just end up with this sort of judgment glasses on. And one of the things that coaching taught me is that doesn't really help anyone. And we often want to understand things like coaching so that we can judge whether it's a good thing or a bad thing if somebody else does it. And my thought is that if it's something that helps other people and it helps them live their best life, it's not our place to judge it. That's my thought. And when I have switched into that mindset and not having to fix or control things that are outside my control and just showing up in my own business, being the best human, coach, mom, wife, daughter, sister, all those things that I can be, life is simpler, healthier, and happier. So where should we go from here? I think when I started my own coaching journey, it was the beginning of a journey. And when I got rid of things that weren't truly authentic to me, and I got rid of the shoulds and pleasing others before myself, everything shifted. I saw the world from a different perspective. I had infinitely less frustration, anger, resentment, less feelings of betrayal, and all the things. And so I throw that out there, hoping that those thoughts help you see ways in which you might be stuck. So I thought that I would reflect a little bit also that I got one-on-one coaching to start. That for me was really important. I wanted that private and safe space. And I love it for the people that I work with. But some people, that's not what they need. They want small group coaching or they need relationship coaching. I have actually done many of these things. I've done big group coaching, small group coaching, one-on-one coaching, relationship coaching, lots of different programs. And I'm currently doing master coach training. I think that there is a place in coaching for everyone. Not that everyone has to do it, but that if they choose to do it or it feels like the approach resonates, then they should do it. I also offer all of these things, maybe not all of them, because I like to offer something for everyone. I think there is something in there for everyone. Now, maybe not for everyone, but that everyone needs or wants or has space in their life for something different. And so find the thing that works for you and try it if it resonates. And if it doesn't resonate, don't try it. Again, I don't think there's a space for us to be out there saying everyone needs a coach. Everyone who wants a coach and thinks it would help, they should hopefully be able to figure out how to have a coach in some way. The other thought here, and I mentioned this a brief bit, is that most people I coach don't leave medicine or their spouses. They sometimes leave their jobs and sometimes they move and sometimes they think they need to move and they don't move. What I find is that people learn to love their life again and they find a new place that feels good. And it may not be the final place, because I think we're all meant to evolve and grow and change, but that it helps them take responsibility for where they are and begin the movement, just the first step or the next step, starting the momentum of the shift that will ultimately be the transformation. And I also want to offer that sometimes we want other people to do something. And so sometimes we want everyone to be able to stay in medicine. And I want to offer that not everyone is meant to stay in medicine. Not everyone should have gone into medicine in the first place. Those that want to stay, and there are many, many of them who want to stay and are finding it hard to do in the current setup, and coaching can be helpful, and it can also be helpful for them to become advocates to make change. And if they want to leave and they don't want to practice medicine, or it doesn't resonate, or it doesn't feel aligned, or it wasn't what they thought it was, it's not for us to insist that people continue to practice. Really, we need a world full of people who are doing the thing that makes their heart sing and brings more joy and change and health and beauty to the world, whatever that is. And so in my mind, coaching helps us all find it. It helps us get rid of all the extra stuff that's in the way of that, all the shoulds and the disbelief in ourselves, and seeing incredible possibilities that I never even thought existed. I see it as helping you live an aligned and intentional life, no matter who you are, no matter what's happening around you, and no matter how old you are. You're never too old, and it's never too late to take agency and ownership of your life. You're not stuck. You're not a victim. And maybe you are a victim, but you don't want to take on the role of victimhood and rather be an empowered person who used to be a victim and is now turning things around. Not because you have to, but because you want to. Thinking about coaching for everyone, maybe it's not for everyone, but maybe it should be a possibility for everyone. And one thought I also wanted to offer is that sometimes coaching is more comfortable for people than, say, seeing a therapist or a psychiatrist. Maybe it's the approach, which is more problem solving and action oriented, forward moving in my mind. Someone else might differ with that. I like to think of it as professional athletes all have coaches, and as physicians, we need coaches too. We're performing at high levels. And honestly, as moms, we need coaches too. And as dads, we need coaches too. Being a human is hard, and our human brains are incredibly complex. And a coach helps you clarify and see more clearly and move forward with mindful intention and respond, not react. And who doesn't want and or need that? Coaching enhances our performance, it enhances our satisfaction, it enhances our communication, it enhances our parasympathetic nervous system, less fight or flight, more relaxation, especially when you combine it with mindfulness. And when we do that, if we're a physician, our patients benefit. If we're a mom, our children benefits. If we are a partner, our partner benefits. Everyone benefits when we show up as the best version of ourselves. And what I will offer is less burnt out people, doctors, lawyers, tech execs, moms. We all do better work, and all those that we care for and heal and show up for benefit. Another point about coaching is not medicine. It is very different than medicine. And even when coaching is offered by a physician coach, it is not medicine. There is no medical advice. And it's important to recognize that it's completely different. So the evaluations of its effectiveness, its structure, its costs, all of those things are it's a completely different paradigm and a completely different way of approaching a problem or feeling stuck or wanting to live a better life. And so comparing the two is almost impossible. So what I would offer is don't get a coach if you need medicine. And if you need a doctor or a psychiatrist, do that too. Coaching can actually be done alongside medicine. It's a way to be healthier and happier. And it can be even done alongside therapy, but it is very different approach and really a different structure. So coaching is also very different than mentorship. And I think it often gets confused with that. And so a mentor is really more of a career guide. They give you specific advice. They help you with the path. If you do this, then you do that next. And if you want to ultimately end up doing this, this is the path within this institution or within our specialty. It requires specific understanding and is much more advice focused than coaching. And so in my mind, coaching is not advice focused. We're a mirror into your mind. We listen to what you're saying and point out themes and things that you bring up. We help you see the thought patterns that are keeping you from finding solutions and or help you learn to listen to yourself. Slow down enough to hear what's happening. Listen to your heart, listen to your gut, listen to your brain. But when we're busy reacting, we don't have a chance to do that. And so it's something different than a mentor for sure. And in an ideal world, we would all have a doctor, a coach, and a mentor. That would be amazing. And then it's different than therapy, in that therapy is really more focused on pathology, healing, and processing. Some of the modalities are a little bit the same. It would actually be amazing if we all had a therapist too. The final thing is that coaching is also not friendship. Coaches do much more than listen. And coaches don't buy into your stories. They don't believe you. They don't people please. They don't really even show empathy per se. They're much more of a neutral mirror into your mind, reflecting back what's going on and helping you figure out yourself what you want to do. And so friends often give you advice and think they know things and they know you better. And when they know you in that different capacity as a friend, they may have judgments and or advice that aren't necessarily what you want to do. They might be what you think you should want to do, or what your backgrounds or who you were before what you wanted to do. But so that's where a coach coming in as sort of an impartial guide can be incredibly helpful. I have a blog post about this exact topic. So if you want to go to my website and review the blog post on that, that would be an easier way to explore more about this. Next up, why is coaching so helpful for doctors and highly trained professionals? And the reason that this is true is because we have a lot of thought patterns that are trained into us as highly trained professionals, and they get in the way of our relationships as parents and as spouses. And they make us highly successful and highly driven and willing to do things that might not otherwise be good for us, such as stay up all night for 3 years or 4 years or 7 years if you're a surgeon, but they don't necessarily serve us well in the rest of our life. And so scarcity mindset, catastrophizing, fixing and controlling things that are out of our control. We have very black and white thinking. We look for problems everywhere. These are just a few of the kinds of things that are trained into us. We are trained to think that mistakes are failure and failure is bad. And so we don't often try new things, and we're not willing to do things when we have uncertainty because we don't know. And we like to follow practice guidelines, but there aren't really practice guidelines for life. So many of these were mentioned in the Drop the Cape Physician Wellness podcast episode, and there are more. And so I will keep sprinkling them in throughout these podcasts, and they come up a lot during my coaching sessions as well and on my retreats. And I think that once you learn them and see them and understand how they're impacting your life and how you might want to change, it's an incredibly powerful switch, something that really does change everything. What coaching helps you do is to step out of those thought patterns and also to step out of judgments of yourself and others. Our high standards got us to these high roles, and they also make us unhappy when we get there. So if you feel like you haven't arrived yet, it's usually a mindset problem. You did all of this work and it's still not how you thought it would be. There's also issues around the system, but some of it is your mindset. I wanted to take a moment near the end of this podcast to just reflect on coaching as an industry. And it's a crazy industry, fully transparent. It's new and it's booming. And it's gone up, I think in 2019, it was maybe $15 billion. And they think in 2022, it's like a $20 billion business just in the United States. And globally, it's way more than that, I think. So, and the reason that coaching is so popular is that we used to think it was only for a luxury or for senior leaders or for high performance athletes. And what they're realizing is that we can all, as humans, benefit from coaching, because being a human is hard. And people have really found it helpful. And so therefore, to respond to the need and respond to their own experience, many people are choosing to become coaches. Now, it doesn't mean that they're all amazing. And the other thing to reflect on is that all of the coaching certification programs, it's all unregulated. And so everyone's wanting a piece of the pie. Everyone's saying that they're the best. And people often ask, well, what coaching certification should my coach have? I think it's much more about the fit, life experience, and coaching style and approach. And you want to find someone who's a fit for you, with their style and their approach and their skill and their wisdom. And knowing that the different coaching programs have a different focus. And so is the place more life focused? Is it, there's Martha Beck's training, there's the Life Coach School, which is where I trained, there's International Coaching Federation training, Harvard has a school of coaching, there's physician wellness coaching training. Everybody's offering different coach training. And so I believe in doing your research, making good decisions, and owning your choice, and that you will get something out of it no matter what. There isn't a best coach out there, but there is a good coach for you. And so find someone who you resonate with, whose style you resonate with, who you feel has the wisdom and skills and you trust and you feel comfortable. It's deep work, and being able to have deep, important conversations and being open and vulnerable is really critically important. So there's absolutely skill involved, and there's absolutely tools involved. The cool thing about coaching is that everyone's bringing different skills in and different life experiences in. I don't think someone needs to have the same life experience as you. In fact, sometimes it's easier to coach using the tools when you don't understand the situation, but sometimes it's easier if you do understand the situation. And so you need to decide what feels right for you. We always want someone to tell us what to do, what's the right next step. And in coaching, finding a coach is really a personal decision. I would just suggest that you not come from a place of scarcity or catastrophizing or urgency. If it feels right, it's likely right. If you've been listening to someone for a while and what they say resonates, it's likely right. If you want a specific approach, pay attention to that. The other thing is that just because coaching is unregulated and the certifications are unregulated, it doesn't make it bad. When Harvard first started, it was a ministry school. When Cornell started, it was an agricultural school. There's no specific place that doles out certifications and gets to decide what's better or worse. Coaching are skills to learn. It's a craft. And you might think about it like a trade school craft. It's not the same as medical school in any way, shape, or form. It's not meant to be. And it's also, as a coach, you're integrating this sort of certification program, which is all it is, or a training program, with your life experience. And so that's where each of us shows up in a unique way, offering something unique. And so coaching is a craft that helps people, but we need to be thinking about and assessing it and understanding it in a different paradigm than we might be used to, understanding that this is kind of true of all new things. And so keeping ourselves curious. The other thing to reflect upon that came up this evening is it replacing mental health? And I think there is this tension between, is it replacing the job of a psychiatrist or a psychologist, or are people using a coach when they should be using the other? And my optimistic hope is that coaches will refer if it seems like it's out of their scope of practice as a coach, and that we also clearly don't have enough mental health providers in the United States to go around for everyone who is struggling. And so it isn't a replacement for that, but it is another way to sort of preventive care for mental health. So in that standpoint, it's highly useful, and we should actually partner together with our mental health colleagues to figure out how to improve mental health and how to help people not struggle so much in the long run. And in my mind, that's really the magic of coaching, is preventing mental health struggles and helping you make choices that keep your mental and emotional and physical health the best that it can be. I think that anything that helps is worth having around, and we all get to make our own choices about what helps us and what doesn't. So a final few more words, because apparently I'm full of words, is about physician coaches. They're not practicing medicine, and you can't compare a coaching practice to a medical practice. It's a totally different paradigm. But what makes physician coaches special is that they presumably at least understand the mindset of high achievers, and they understand the culture of medicine. And so if you're a physician wanting help trying to figure out how to navigate your life, as a physician coach is going to understand better the situation that you're coming from. It doesn't mean you have to use one. And in fact, when I first got my own coaching, I did not work with a physician coach. She was married to a physician, and I thought that would be helpful. Maybe she would understand. But I actually very much wanted to get coached by someone outside of medicine. So I don't think it's integral. But I do think that sometimes it makes it easier, and sometimes it makes it faster, and sometimes it's easier to trust, especially in what I just described as a completely unregulated industry. You know, in many ways, what you're getting with a physician, as long as you're clear that they are not practicing medicine and they are not giving advice, and that you feel comfortable making sure that it's a good fit, and that you're not jumping in for fear of missing out or from an urgency or a scarcity standpoint. So some reflection questions at the end of this episode. What are your thoughts on coaching? How might coaching help you? Where are you falling into old habits in your life? Old thought patterns, perhaps scarcity, catastrophizing, looking for external validation, people-pleasing, seeing things as black and white. How might you be prejudging coaching as an intervention? How might you be judging others who get coached? What would your future self recommend you do now to live your best life? And the final one, what is the one thing that you could do now that will change everything for you? For me, it was coaching, and that's why I share it with all of you. I don't want anyone else to wait as long as I did to discover it, now that I know it's out there and I know how to do it. And living your best life is just better. And why sit in the muck of not useful thought patterns and things that make your life much less pleasant when you don't have to? So whatever your best life looks like, coaching can generally help you get there if it resonates. Reach out to me to find out more. Check out my website, www.jessiemahoneymd.com. You can find out information about doing one-on-one coaching, small group coaching communities that I offer, a more low-cost way of getting introduced to coaching. Retreats are another option. And almost all of my coaching does offer CME because of the evidence-based studies to show its impact on burnout. And because when we are able to spot these negative thought patterns, we can change them, and that helps our patients and ourselves. And when we bring mindfulness into it, there's even more evidence about health and wellness that comes from it. I would love to meet some of you for coaching, physician coaching, parent coaching, relationship coaching, retreats, coaching yoga, whatever it is that inspires. Just try something and see. There's something for everyone, because this coaching stuff is really worth sharing. So that's my version of the scoop on coaching as it is today. As I said, it's rapidly evolving, very new. And so we'll see where it all goes. I am forever grateful for my own journey with it, and I would love to share these tools with you if they inspire. Thanks so much for listening. Please leave us stars and reviews and share with others who you think might be interested. And please, if it appeals, stay on after the sound of the singing bowl for a short, mindful moment. Welcome to today's mindful moment, a moment of reflection on what it feels like to be aligned. So taking a moment to ground your sit bones into your chair, tilting your pelvis forward and aligning your spine. Noticing that when you are aligned, your body feels easier, life feels easier, your head is lighter, things hurt less. Take in an inhale and an exhale. Notice the breath spreading throughout. When your cells are nourished with oxygen, you feel more aligned. Bringing a hand to heart and another hand to top, checking in with your heart space. Where are you struggling unnecessarily? Where are you living out of alignment? Check in with your heart. Your heart knows. Take in an inhale into that pocket behind the heart where it often feels stuck and tense. Breathe in and out. Let it go. And pause. Notice how you feel. Is there anything that you have identified that is out of alignment? Do you want to change it? Do you need to change your thinking about it? How might it not be a problem itself? Or maybe you need to make a change. You notice tension in that heart space. Take another breath, breathing into it with kindness and compassion for the confusion and the tension. And breathing out. 3 more breaths in alignment here. A few moments of alignment in your day right now, wherever you may be. Take in another inhale. And an exhale, let it go. 2 more breaths. Inhale. And exhale. When you're ready, lower your hands and open your eyes if they're closed, and just notice how you feel. Even a few moments of alignment feels amazing. Noticing perhaps where there is still tension and where there is room for things to shift and change if you choose. Use the breath to help. Use the pause to help. Use mindfulness to help. Final inhale. And an exhale, let it go. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.